Hello. Today, I want to talk about something that is literally amazing for anybody that is doing anything business related ever. And that is, we're going to be talking about how to construct standard operating procedures or workbacks or projects, basically the kind of methodology you're thinking behind if you want to create something new or you want to structure something. This is executive level big idea thinking that I've learned over years and years from various mentors that I'm going to talk about today. And we're actually going to do a real SOP in real time because I'm going to be constructing the newsletter. So prepare for a very long video, but I will kind of front load a lot of the good information so that if you don't want to watch the whole thing and the creation of it, you can get everything you need to know out of the next few minutes. So there are a couple of things that I put into every workback and standard operating procedure. I guess it's important to understand like what I mean by standard operating procedure. So I'm saying like, let's say that you want to build a new sales division of your company, or let's say that you want to design a new product, or let's say that you want to make 30% more money than you made before. Like these are all things that I would basically spec out, or I'd like on a sheet of paper. So there's a couple of core concepts that we're going to have in every single SOP. The first one is going to be create a brain dump of every idea. So this, and you're going to see me do this in a minute, but it just means you're going to put down every single idea you possibly have around this concept, and that's the first thing you're going to do. The second thing we're going to do is you're going to start with an outcome, and this is what's called input-output thinking, which is an executive methodology that's formulated in Amazon. Input level thinking, we'll talk here. Input level thinking means something you can control that leads to an output goal. So that means output level thinking is something external that's a goal that you can influence the result of, but don't totally control. So it's not going to make a lot of sense until I kind of put it into an example. So for example, if I say something like, I want to lose 10 pounds, okay, in 60 days, that's the output, right? So then the input might be play tennis 15 minutes, or it's not really that long, 30 minutes every 5 days a week, right? Or changed input might be lower sugar consumption or remove sugar, right? So the first thing we're going to think of is our output. What do we want to create? What is our outcome as a result of this project? So there's a book called Working Backwards. And again, this is an Amazon concept where you start with the end in mind, where you have a outcome or goal that you want to accomplish, and then you're going to work back to try to accomplish that via setting up the inputs. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, now that we understand that, we're just going to kind of create this and we're going to do a new one. I'm creating a brand new Google document. I'm going to call this Patreon newsletter, SOP, and or / workback. And then I'm going to think, so now this is all, I've never done this before, right? I've not thought about this before. I don't have any notes on this. So this is all just kind of like stream of conscious thinking. And my hope is that like you see how I kind of think about executive level thinking when I start a project like this. So so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start like dumping like thoughts about like, what do I want to do? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do an outcome. Okay. So the Patreon tier for me, right, is that I need to get to. I think the newsletter is in tier 2, so it's $15 a month. So if it's $15 a month and I'm trying to 5x the value, that means that my newsletter provides $75 of value per month to each user. Okay, so that also means that, and then I could go like a little bit higher level, and I'll say provides a high value insight to the new media industry with takeaways, with unique takeaways. And then my other objective, I think, is going to be to create or to share high value things I'm interested in that multiply value or number one, right? So now just going to start dumping ideas, bullet points on things I think are cool. These can be dumb or they can be very high value. I don't really care. I'm not making any kind of judgment call on it. A list of news insights from X period of time. Let's see what else a newsletter could be. High value analysis on X topic, right? And then like I might just go and again, like this is just going to be live. So like, what can I put in a newsletter? These are things that I think people really underestimate, where you could just Google stuff, right? There's so many answers now that you could just Google stuff, and then I can just contextualize that into what I want to do. Interviews with experts, ask me anything. Okay. Tweets of the week might be a good idea. So like some kind of like social media post and analysis breakdown and commentary, right? That's good. So see what I just did there was I just like kind of took something from here and then kind of made it into what I'm looking at. Behind the scenes stuff, hot takes on news, press coverage or guest posts, right? So that's another good idea would be just like inviting others to post or put thoughts in. Polls or surveys, those don't really provide a lot of value. So I'm done with that. Now I'm gonna look at 125 awesome newsletter ideas. And this is like just a really great concept of like pretty much if you're doing something in this day and age, like somebody has thought of it. So there's gonna be options on what to do. And you can just look through, start conversations, case studies. So this is like interesting Twitch case or YouTube case studies and analysis. So that's like Fwiz tweets or Stream Hatchet data, which is a company I work with. Any kind of thing like that. Quick tips. So that's like quick bullet point tips on business or content creation. We could do like thoughts or reviews or insights into or a challenge. These both go together. So I'll just go here. Challenge on what a person should think about in their business, right? Again, just like thinking of ideas. So share an actionable idea. It's kind of another way to say what I was doing right there. Are you hiring? Create job openings. So that's a good one. So opportunities for people, right? That's an easy way to provide value, like jobs or open positions and like other people's companies or things like that, right? Great content from around the web. I really like that too. Share social proof. What's up? And so send a letter from a key team member, give insider stuff, spotlight someone to follow in the industry. So spotlight successful people. It's a great idea, right? Share a tip of the month, recommend podcasts. That's just going to kind of go in like the cool stuff list. Share lessons you've learned, package lessons from folks in the industry, point out mistakes you've made, historical stories. Some of these are dumb ideas, right? Like judgment is like a really judgment is kind of antithetical to creative work, I think. I don't judge any of these ideas. They're just kind of like they work for me or they don't. Like in certain circumstances, they work really well. But if you get kind of stuck and you're like, that's stupid, like, and you're gonna miss the point. Practical examples, sub niches, series are great. News. So we're starting to see a lot of repeats. Tough concepts. Yeah, so like how X feature on Twitch, YouTube really works. Like for example, boost streams. Like how does that actually work in written form? That's like really, you can already see like, if we even accomplish like 10% of these, like we're already providing the value that people are signed up for on the $15 tier. Taking advantage of trends. Inspiring stuff. Just going to do that automatically. What's the person doing to this monkey? Distraught monkeys mourn death of robotic monkey. That's so sad. Okay, help people see meaning in their work. Encourage people to reflect, share memes. No, not in ours. Infographics are great. Depth of story. Tell people how well they're doing. Pick apart internal data. Absolutely. We got that kind of listed already. Share what happened at an event. Share upcoming events. Share quotes. That's cool. So I like a quote. What's a BTS video? Oh, announce a party, celebrate a milestone. There's a lot of like sales and like product stuff in here. Like obviously I'm not making a newsletter to monetize it. That is a very viable marketing funnel for sure. But I'm mainly doing it as I want to provide value. So I'm not like trying to sell people things for my newsletter. I might offer like if I ever do like a course or something, or anything like that, then I might put that in the newsletter, right? But I'm not really the course kind of person. If I ever did a course, I'd probably give people an option to buy it for free. Post a Q&A. I think Q&As are better in a live streaming format. We're going to start those too soon. Okay, that was cool. So we probably have enough ideas to go off of here. I'm going to just toss this anymore. Jesus. Review books. Oh, book recommendations. Super good. And like a what I'm reading type of thing. Be really good since I'm reading a book all the time. This is like really different. Okay, I guess I have to accept cookies. Answer questions from people. It's really good. I think that's kind of lame though. I'd rather do that in video format. So it's pretty limited, but we're just going to put it down because again, we're not judging. Okay. So I think I'm ready to kind of like build the actual structure of it now that I have this. So I kind of understand like what my outcome is, and I kind of understand like what I'm going to do. And based on this, I think the first part of the newsletter should be like an introduction. So I'm going to put that in brackets. And then I think the second part of the newsletter should be high value news / insights in industry. And then the third value should be bullet points, short form, what I think is cool. And then that's it. So I think that I was really inspired by 5 Bullet Friday, which is a Tim Ferriss newsletter that's like extremely powerful. Now, it's just 5 bullets that he thinks are cool. Now, granted, he's that's free, right? So we can't just put 5 bullets in an email and be like, here you go. Like we can't do that. We gotta do better. So I think here is at least one high value item per newsletter with 1 to 2 paragraphs of commentary. So notice how like I'm getting like pretty granular here now, whereas like I focused on the outcome, which is really big picture, and then I'm starting to sort of go more and more granular until I kind of understand exactly what I want. At least one high value news piece of something that happened and what it means. And then I'll leave that there. I think this is currently reading. And then I think another like bullet point is like maybe a product or service. I think worked for me. Another one here would be like a podcast or high value video I'm listening to. I'll just make these one of these, right? And one of these. That's 3 guaranteed bullet points right there. Go back and look at my ideas. And I like one challenge. So something people can do in their business or media to improve. And the introduction should be commentary on the most high value takeaway from the past X time since the last newsletter. And then I'm almost done. Like I want to leave it because we have to understand. I should have added this outcome at the beginning. I knew this in my head, but I should have wrote it down for you, which is spend minimal amounts of time constructing this newsletter. And then to get that a little bit more objective, I would probably not want to spend more than 1 hour per newsletter, right? And that's my goal personally, because again, like, your outcomes are going to be specific to what you're trying to accomplish. In my case, I don't want to put a lot of time into this because Patreon is like my secondary thing. Like, it's like my business has to come first. And I have to like think about my business first before I think about like how I'm doing anything else. So, okay, so what else do I want to do? I think that the other thing I want to talk about is just failing forward, where this is fine. Like so, what this basic level product is better than no product at all. Right now we have no newsletter, so a newsletter that contains these things would be better than no newsletter. So I'm just good launching with this. So I'm good. And notice that hopefully you're catching like all the like little small things that are going on here. I could spend another hour or two like thinking about some of these things, and I might get 10 or 20% more of the way there, but 80% of the work is done. If not 95% of the work is done. And now everything else is going to come through experience. So if I make this newsletter, people give me feedback on it, I send it out, I do it, right? I'm going to learn a lot more about what I need to put in it or what I need to take out of it. So there's the skeleton, that's the structure. So now the only thing I need to really determine is where am I kind of getting these resources? And I already have set that up. Where I get these resources is going to be from research from the lab, right? Which is the lab is the arm of the Dev and Nash community that like I pay to research things or find things or something like that. So research from the lab is going to be one. What are we doing with these bullet points? Formatting is the enemy. Okay. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Research from the lab is number one. And then curating a list of websites I can look at every week on one day. And then during the day, on my personal notes, put down a cool section and link things based on what I'm watching or doing. So what this is a system process. So sometimes like when I get involved in things like this, it's like systems building on top of systems. So I have a system where I write out a daily note thing. Hell, that's like that in of itself should be a Patreon video because it's super valuable. So I'm going to go write that down in the content idea section of that. Video is going to be, you're just seeing my process here. On daily notes. So I take daily notes and I base it on a template, and I just put in and so during one of those templates it just asks me various questions. One of the questions is going to be, what kind of cool stuff did you see today? And then I'll just put links in there, and then I'll go through each one at the end of the week, and I'll just like pull them into the newsletter, the ones I think that are absolutely the highest value, because I'm always listening to podcasts, because I'm always exploring new things, always hearing stuff, thinking about new news pieces and things like that. So that'll be that. And then there's going to be the cool section. There's going to be research from the lab. There's going to be creating websites. And that should give me enough resources to build the skeleton of the newsletter here and get all these things done. And then from there, yeah, I would say this is actually the project. So now from here, I know what I'm going to do. So like I've got the Patreon members, I've got the newsletter. I'm basically ready to start writing it. And now I know like the basic framework of this, and I'm done with the SOP. So that's the SOP and work back. Some other things that you might want to put in that might be relevant to you. So these are things that I didn't need on this one, but just things that I want to like say that you might need. specify team members and their roles and authority. So in my case, I am an army of one, and then there's my lab researchers. So we don't really need to specify anything. Like there's like people that own certain parts of it or whatever. Not yet, right? Like maybe if somebody wants to take on the newsletter, then that's the case. But for now, it's just me. Secondly, you might want to define like authority. You might want to define like who's doing what, time frames, right? Like if you need to, I already know the time frame of this is going to be in the next couple of weeks, so I don't need to write that down. But if you have a project, you might want this completed in like, what is it, 1 month, 2 month, 3 months? What's it going to be? And you should always ask yourself, go back to my YouTube video on questions that millionaires ask themselves, and like ask yourself, how do I 10x this result? So if you set a deadline of 6 months, you should ask yourself how you could do that in 1 month. Even if you can't do it in 1 month, like it's a good idea to kind of think about how you ought do that in 1 month. So I like that too. My time frame is fine for what I'm doing. Like my newsletter should come out in the next couple of weeks, so that I don't need to like ask myself like what. But I could ask myself, like, right, like exploring my own options, like, well, what would happen if I did this tomorrow, right? What would it take? What would need to happen? And that's a pretty easy answer. Like, well, I could just start writing, right? I think I have enough resources that I could go look at the previous notes that I have from the lab research team that's been doing them for the last 2 weeks, because we already set that up, and I could potentially just write this tonight, right? And I could have this, right? Probably the only thing that's keeping me on that 1 to 2 week time frame is like some kind of inertia, like some kind of fear of moving forward. Because everything else is done. There's not really anything I've got to wait on. So it's just my time. So yeah, I should just write it tomorrow. So I'll just schedule that there. See, 10x works. Like you just ask, like so much of life is just asking yourself questions. Like, why does it have to be a week? I've done that all the time in like businesses I'm consulting for. They're like, yeah, so that's gonna be out in like 2 months. Why? Like what like why not out next week? What do you got going? You know, and then half the time they don't have an answer. But yeah, that's how to design newsletters and SOPs, workbacks. You should do this for any significant thing in your life. It can be any kind of personal change, so like things like losing weight or exercising, things you wouldn't expect, or it could be any kind of business change. Just create a Google Doc, write it out. You'll feel better. I'm going to talk a lot more about writing because I think that introspective writing is like actually my superpower. It's like something that I've like spent a lot of time honing, years actually, written thousands and thousands of pages on. And it'll be I think for another Patreon video coming up soon, we'll do a talk on like how to do daily notes and like keep track of things. So hopefully this is valuable. Just like let me know if it was or wasn't. Okay. And we'll talk again soon. Thanks.